Beginning transmission 118. Animal Man. File under Animal Farm.
Come on, you fuckers think that just because a guy reads comics he can't start some shit? I'll fucking take all you want!
Welcome to this week's episode of the Funny Books and Firewater Podcast.
面白い本と歌手ポッドキャストの今週のエピソードへようこそ。
Ignore her. She drinks.
Each week, a motley band of comic readers / amateur bartenders attempt to pair cocktails with comic books.
毎週漫画の読者の雑多なバンドはスラッシュアマチュア入札しようと漫画とペアカクテルバーです。
All while trying to not sound like complete morons in the
すべ
process.
ての中にしようとして音ではないような完了プロセスで低能です。
Kind of like a speakeasy kind of thing. It's kind of cool.
You can find these idiots on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr.
Facebook、Twitter、Instagram や Tumblr にこれらのバカを検
You
索
know
できます。
something?
No, what?
You read too many comic books.
We now join Brian, Jeremiah, Adam, and Todd.
They're used to curious sights which they attribute to alcoholic delusions. They may be drinkers, Robin, but they're also human beings.
I'm too sober for this shit.
Don't mind my smegma. Just look at those giant warts and crabs crawling around instead.
It means you're an animal lover.
That is right, Animal Man.
Animal Man.
That's our segue.
Right there.
Hey, welcome.
From smegma to comic books.
I don't know how much.
Jeff.
I don't know how much of the smegma I caught in there because I had started recording and realized I hadn't enabled.
Well,
Adam to
apparently
talk
this guy caught all of it in his, so.
Yeah, apparently.
Yes, just holding on to it. It's got a smegma pouch.
So, hey, welcome
Ew.
to episode 118.
It was drawn by what's his face who does Deadpool.
Yes.
Jeff Lemire.
No, not Jeff Lemire.
Scotty Young.
No, who does Deadpool? Who?
Well, right now.
No.
No. That
created
nut
it,
job?
or who? Huh?
Oh, Rob
Yeah,
Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld.
Who did I
Well,
say?
You said Scotty Young. That's the current guy
He's
writing
it. He's
Right.
not drawing it. Who did I say before that? I thought I said
Jeff Lemire.
Jeff Lemire.
Oh, sorry, it's because I was looking at it
On
there.
the brain.
I had Liefeld on my brain. Which have you seen Pouch and Satchel?
Is that the new thing he's doing?
He started out as a joke, and I think it's
Right.
actually turning it into an actual thing. But yeah, it's because he basically made a character of all pouches because that's what he does.
Right.
So
And he's like, oh, it's actually popular. Maybe I should try to make a buck doing
hey, you
this.
know what? If you can be self-referential and make some money off of it, I say go for it.
Do it, yeah. Go,
So-
Rob.
Cool. So yes, we're at episode 118. This is Animal Man by Jeff Lemire and Travel Foreman, which is kind of an awesome name, actually.
That sounds like a Utah name.
Travel Foreman. So I've got an ancestor named Cornelius Traveler.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
kind of awesome,
and his
actually.
daughter was named Jane Traveler. I'm like, those are like the names of like books, characters. Like
Jane Traveler and Cornelius. What was it?
Cornelius Traveler was her
Yeah.
dad's name. Cornelius
Traveler
Traveler.
has come.
Yes.
Yes, it's Cornelius.
Choose your.
Call me
or-
Lenny.
Call me Lenny.
I don't know if your name was Cornelius. What would you go by? Corny.
Corny.
I've heard corny before, actually. I don't know.
Really?
They're
I mean,
I would
Conrad would go by Connie
I
or
would go by
something.
Neil.
Neil.
If my name
Neil.
was Conrad, I'd go by Rad.
What's up, Rad?
And yeah, anyway, so we're here. Still missing Maya.
We miss you, Maya.
miss you, Maya. Maya, where are you? Come
We
back,
just
Maya.
we're thinking about you. There's an empty
Hi, Maya.
place next to us.
We actually have an empty microphone, but I have turned it off, so it's not going to be picking up anything. But
Mm-hmm.
in Maya's spot, it's also one of those weird things. I don't know if you've ever had this, but they have the extra microphone sometimes for Geek Show. And every
Yeah.
time I go over there, I feel like I'm sitting in Jeff's spot, and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable talking on this microphone because I feel like I'm in Jeff's spot. I don't know if you've had the same thing or not.
No, because last time I was over there, it was just for Broken News. So
Yeah.
it was only like 3 of us anyways. So it was.
Yeah, one of the times I was there for an actual filming or recording. It was just weird. It was like they said that it was like, oh, go in that extra mic. I was like, I feel like this place was left for Jeff. I'm like, I don't feel comfortable sitting in Jeff's spot, but whatever. Anyway, that's how it goes. Jeff was an awesome dude. He's part of the reason why I know Adam.
He's the only reason you know me.
That's true. So speaking of the only reason I know Adam,
I want to see the Segui. Go for it.
I fucked it up already.
You really did.
You want me to get myself out of the Segui?
Get out of it.
Segui.
So that's a Forever Plaid reference.
That's true.
Yes.
The only show I've done twice, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Well, no, I've done that, and I've done. There's been a few shows I've done twice. That was the first show I ever did twice. I also did On Golden Pond twice. Yeah.
The sequel on Golden Showers was much different.
No, that was just a porn parody.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway. Thanks for scratching your beard on the microphone.
I do that.
I'm leaving that in so everyone can hear it. Okay, so not Scratch McScratcherson, unless, it might be the animal lover of the guy who doesn't clean. We have Mr. Adam.
Oh, God. Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Adam, reviews editor for Big Shiny Robot. Also doing stuff kind of sometimes with the Bored as Hell podcast with Andy Wilson.
Hi, Andy.
Also find me over on Cinema Queens with our good friend Chris.
Hey, Chris.
That's actually the podcast that Todd's been nice enough to guest on. He was
Yes.
our token straight.
Well, and I'm going to be the token straight when you do Hedwig. I have dibs.
Yeah, that's right.
All right.
I can't remember when we're doing. I think we're doing Hedwig in November.
Okay.
I hated that movie.
Really?
You didn't like Hedwig?
Amy and I really hated that.
Really? I fucking
Have you ever
love
seen
that
it
show.
live?
No.
Because it's a lot different live. It's like you're just like at a concert.
You mean good?
It's actually really good live. It's one of the
Okay.
best shows
Great
I've ever
live.
seen.
I fucking love that show. Anyway.
All right.
But yeah, and so we're actually Trans Awareness Week is in November, so I think we're gonna do like some themed movies around there, like Boys Don't Cry and that kind of stuff.
I think also an interesting book for trans awareness, if we were to do it on this show, would be Transmetropolitan, the first trade.
Yeah.
That's a really interesting conversation because basically, have you ever read that?
I've heard of it, but I've not read it. No.
So,
Sure.
I think it's the first trade, right? Where basically one of the big, it's essentially a Hunter S. Thompson in the future.
Yes.
Todd's going to go find the book real fast and see if I'm right.
did he write it?
No, he did
okay.
not write it. But basically, the character is a Hunter S. Thompson in the future. His name is Spider Jerusalem. But in the book, it's like this futuristic thing where they've sort of aliens have made contact and whatever, and people are transgender is like nothing, but trans species is a big thing. Which is why if you ever see it's a smiley face with 3 eyes in the center of it.
Yeah.
That's the reference from that book.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's the trans species thing because people are having
Sex with
operations.
aliens.
Well, no, they're having operations to become multiple species. Like they identify as being both. So it's basically a conversation on transsexual and all that sort of stuff. But he puts it in a world of
interesting.
trans species. Is it in that trade or is it a later one? It might be in the next one then.
So
Yeah.
it was written by Warren Ellis. Derek
Yeah.
Robertson did all the pencils
art.
for it and
Yeah.
art. So Derek's awesome. He did
Yeah.
a bunch of Punisher and
He did
The Boys.
The Boys was the big one we read him.
Right.
Yeah, but I want to do that show. I want to do that on the book actually, or that book on the show for sure.
Right.
But yeah, so it must be the second trade. But they do.
Right.
It's really interesting. It's one of those books that has a lot of political content in it.
It really does.
But it's because of the way it's written, it doesn't feel as heavy as it really could be. So yeah, I highly recommend that book. I actually
Cool.
like it.
But yeah, and then also we're doing for the month of August, we are going in end of July to go to the Damn These Heels Film Festival, which is the LGBT festival up here in Salt Lake.
Damn these heels!
Damn These Heels! And I didn't get the joke until I actually saw their float at the Pride Parade.
Oh,
I'm like,
gotcha.
I get this now, like Damn
Yeah.
These Heels. But that should be fun because he's never really done
It's in a movie too. The Damn These High Heels.
Probably, yeah.
I'm sure.
I'm trying to remember where it is from. Anyway, okay, I'll remember it later.
But yeah,
Sounds
so
like
we-
something Divine would say.
It's not even necessarily divine. It's a gay character. I know that
Uh-huh.
for sure. But it's like someone makes a joke. I think they might even make a reference to it in Best of Show.
I haven't seen Best of Show in so long.
Man.
Wow.
I love all those.
I rewatched that semi-recently, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I like that one a lot. I mean, Waiting for Guffman is obviously my favorite because I identify with it so much. I didn't care for A Mighty Wind, and I think the Purnham one. Oh, the For Your Consideration.
Right.
I kind of liked, but I think it was a little too inside baseball for inside Hollywood stuff. Like
Sure.
for you to completely get all of it.
Yeah, well, Waiting for Guffman is the best one.
Oh,
so.
for sure.
Yeah.
But
Well, unless you count Spinal Tap,
well, it's
which is similar but different director. You know?
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of Divine, so shameless plug for Barnes & Noble. They're doing 50% off all their Criterion movies. They do it twice a year, July and November. And I went and picked up a Rusev Day present for Eddie because they just put out Female Trouble.
What's Russo Day?
Rusev Day? Rusev is a WWE wrestler.
Okay.
And every single day is Rusev Day. So if we ever get a gift for someone like, hey, happy Rusev Day,
That's funny.
But Female Trouble, which was one of John Waters' NC-17 naughty films, just came out on Criterion.
So Todd and I went shopping for a birthday card for my dad yesterday.
Yes.
And I almost got this card, and so I'll show it to Adam. But basically, it has a shirtless man on the front with a baseball bat over his shoulder. Very, very sexy little.
And a
sexy
big
man, right?
old birthday cake.
Okay. So the front of the card says, "On your birthday, would you care for some cake?"
I know where this is going.
And then you open the card. It says, "Or would you rather lick the batter?"
See, I thought it was going to be a picture of him with his pants down.
Nope. And I almost got that for my dad. I sent it to my wife. Said, "Hey, should we get this card for my dad for a birthday?" She goes, "Ha ha ha, no."
That's a no.
But hey, you know, we're recording this on my dad's birthday. Happy
Yay.
birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Happy birthday.
He won't listen to that show. I mean, oh my God, he would not listen to the show.
My parents know what podcast I'm on. I've told them they're not allowed to listen to them, and they're both like, well, we don't even know how to find podcasts.
Good.
Good, because the shit I say on here, you would disown.
Yeah, no, this is why Todd and I have a second podcast.
Yes.
But okay, so my dad was sitting in the front room. My mom, I came home from work, and my mom was like, "Oh, I listened to the new episode of English Class Hooligans," and she goes, "I really liked it." And my dad says, "She's just saying that because she's your mother." She goes, "Oh no, that's what I really do like." And I'm like, it's kind of shitty on both their behalf, like both the house. Like, she's just saying that because like thanks, Dad. And then it was
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of English Class Hooligans, we have Mr. Todd.
Hi, I'm Todd. I'm here on the Funny Books and Firewater podcast, and I also do English Class Hooligans, as just said. And if you find me elsewhere, I'll be impressed.
Yeah.
Occasionally, I'll guest. I've done it once on the Cinema Queens podcast, and who knows, I might be somewhere else one day.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'll add more and more and more and more.
More and more.
Slowly take over. We'll be on every podcast there is known to man.
All of them.
That's a podcast.
All of the podcast.
All of them.
They will bow before our power.
Yes.
And hey, I'm Brian. I'm sound designer based in Southern California. I'm in Utah designing 4 shows for the Lyric Rep. Sense Sensibility, Peter and the Starcatchers, Craig Gardens, and my brain's trying so hard to remember a show I opened 2 days ago, and Macbeth.
Right.
Are running there, and then I'll go back to California and do some stuff, and then I now have been invited by 2 different universities to come and guest speak there, which is pretty fucking fun.
That is the shiznit.
That's how it goes, right? But, you know,
shiznit.
if they pay, one of them's in New York, so I'm like, if you pay me to go to New York, then I can go see some shows. I mean, it's in Albany, but you know, or Buffalo, one of the two.
It's Buffalo because I said Utica or bust.
That's right. What do we want? Utica. When do we want it?
Now.
No sleep till Utica.
No sleep till
Utica.
And I'm also on the English Class Hooligans with Todd's wife, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Todd missed that, so I thought I would say it. Amy's also in the other room, so we're kind of yelling it so she can hear.
Right.
And she always has so much class when she comes on our show.
I know,
She
right?
does.
She makes us sound way more intelligent than we really are, or makes us sound dumb and point out how dumb we are, or I don't know, whatever.
But she never does it on purpose.
No, for sure.
It's never
No.
malicious.
Nope.
Nope. Which is why she's good on English Class Hooligans, because we're actually trying to be semi-intelligent on that show. This one, we just read books with pictures, which is fine.
That's right.
Yay,
And on the other
yes.
one, we clean up our
Yay.
fucking language for the other one.
That's true. Oh, my. Actually, my quote of the day the other day, I was talking to a friend of mine outside of a bar in Logan, and I said, I had gone golfing with my dad earlier that day. I was like, do you know how hard it is to watch your language in front of your Mormon father while golfing? It was how hard it is to watch your language while golfing. It's hard as shit. So.
Okay.
Anyway, jumping into Animal Man, and I'm going to be flat out upfront and honest. I have not completely finished reading this just yet. So
Shame.
Shame.
But I'm not going to bullshit you and pretend like I've read all of it. I haven't.
Like some local film critics do.
I've heard that, but I'm not like. So I know there's like I've read what 3 of the issues all the way through. I've kind of skimmed through 2 of them, and then there's one I haven't even touched. But I will let the other members of this panel.
And honestly, the last issue is bullshit anyways. So
Okay.
It really is.
Well, because
It
most of the
has nothing
storyline
to
really
do
has,
with it.
most of the storyline seems to be running or dealing with this hunt thing. But I kind of got the general gist of it. So this is Animal Man. This is part of the New 52 relaunch. And one thing that Todd and I noticed earlier is that, or at least Todd pointed out, is that Jeff Lemire can basically change, retcon almost anything in just a simple line of dialogue, which he's able to do in this.
And he does it all the time. And he's done it in a couple of different things as well.
I really liked what he did in Moon Knight, and this kind of reminds me of it to a certain extent of like, I'm going to take an established character, I'm going to go my own direction, and yes, I'm going to acknowledge that stuff used to happen, but I'm going to sit there and say, yeah, but this is how it really happens. So, but before we get started there, we will go with drinking games.
And now for sports.
Listen up, sports fans. Prepare yourself and your liver for this week's drinking game. Remember, it's only a game, and a dumb one at that. So don't take it too seriously, and above all else, please drink responsibly.
I'm going to start with mine. Mine is called Kids Are Creepy.
Yeah.
And it's every time Maxine does something creepy or says something creepy, take a drink. Maxine is his daughter, and she does some weird shit throughout this.
Yes, she does.
Yeah. So, also, just a forewarning on the art on this. I'm kind of like, this is the kind of art we would expect to be reading in an October book.
Yes, indeed.
There is some.
Don't read this book on mushrooms or acid.
Yeah.
No.
No, that would trip you out as well.
Okay.
So, Mr. Adam, do you have a drinking game rule?
Animal Farm. Every time they show an animal or name an animal, take a drink.
That is evil shit.
Well, you're gonna need to be drunk to read this book, so.
A little bit.
Okay, Mr. Todd.
Gah! So every time you see something and the drawings or whatnot is just this creepy Akira type crap going on, you need to go ahead and take a drink. And it's called Gah because that's what
His wife
Animal
says.
Man's wife says when he opens up the door. And there's this creepy as fuck thing going on.
Trapper Keeper.
Yes. And there is a skin suit in here.
There is.
There is, and I haven't seen Skin Suit in so long. Thank the fucking Crom for that.
Thank the Crom.
Thank the crumb. Okay, so we're going to go into votes as to whether or not we believe that you should waste your hard-earned time and money and things like that on this book. Vote for Pedro.
So I've been asked by the judge to be the foreman.
For Pedro.
And I want y'all to know that we's gonna run a fair jury and a clean jury.
It's time for a vote. Because we love you. And we don't want to waste your money. We will now vote on whether this week's book is fit for human consumption by you, our dear listener. Along with each vote, our panel will also provide one piece of evidence to support their vote.
Vote for Pedro.
Do you expect me to talk?
Vote for Pedro.
No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. There is nothing you can talk to me about that I don't already know.
I may sit this one out because I haven't finished yet, so I don't know if I have a full opinion on it. But Mr. Todd.
Nah.
Meh? Okay.
Yeah, set it out.
Okay. Mr. Adam?
No.
Okay. Without giving a full vote, I will say I am a huge fan of Jeff Lemire, and this is not my favorite thing he's ever written, from what I've read of it so far.
Sure.
I mean, he could change it out in the future, but also, from what I understand from somebody at my comic book,
Someone
shop,
just lost their marbles.
That was me. From what I had heard from a guy at my comic shop, this book ties a lot into Swamp Thing.
Swamp Thing, yeah.
So I actually have the Swamp Thing that I bought as well to read along with this, and my intention had been to read both of them and see how it goes. But
Right.
life got the better of me, and I had to work.
Happened.
You know.
So, and what was interesting when the new 52 initiative happened is DC relaunched everything at number ones, but they had 52 new series launch all simultaneously.
And how many survived?
Very few, but they knew it would happen
Definitely not none
anyways.
of them because they just did Rebirth and that reset everything again. So,
So, right.
And see what the reason why this is almost, I said before that the worst thing that can happen is having hope that something will be good and going in and finding out that you didn't like it because
Right.
I said with movies, if I go to an Adam Sandler movie, I already kind of know what to expect.
Yeah.
So I'm already kind of bracing myself for that. And with this one, when it launched, the trade I have I bought back when the first trade came out, and then it was in my closet, which I had finally cleaned out. And
Oh,
like,
finally
shit,
came out of the closet. That's awesome.
I did actually. Dude, you need to come over and see my house now. It's all nice and pretty.
Oh, nice.
So this is one everyone was saying. It's like Animal Man is the best thing that launched with the new 52. It's so fantastic. It's interesting. It's creepy. I'm like, oh, I'm really really excited to read this. So when I found out we were doing it for this month, I was like, oh, sweet. And then it started out kind of interesting, and then it just kind of went downhill. And I'll go in more detail later on. But it's like, this is what everyone was so fucking excited about. Like, am I missing something? But I'm glad to see that you two kind of had the same feeling I did. So
Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I don't hate it, but I just I don't see what the hype was about.
I think it's one of those books that I feel like I haven't finished it. So but at where I am in the book, I'm like, I feel like there might be a long game at play here that would make it more interesting, but I don't know if I'm devoted enough to figure out what that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of when we did war games. Like if you just started out with what was the first one?
Act 1. Ignore war drums.
Yeah. If I didn't have to go and read the rest of it for the show, I never would have gotten further.
Yeah. And it turned out to be really good, but this first little stuff. And so I don't know, it might be one of those things. 'Cause, I mean, they do establish a world here that could be a very interesting challenge for this character to go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're starting to get slightly into spoiler territory, so we'll just take our break now.
Yep.
And then when we return, we will spoil the shit out of it, so you have been warned. Although we kind of said maybe you don't want to read it anyway. So if you want to save your time and just listen to us spoil it and discuss it and pretend like you actually know what's in the book, you can do that too.
I would say do that.
Yeah.
Give yourself the time.
Yeah. We might have to bite this bullet for you. So that might be what we end up doing. So anyway, we will see you on the flip side.
If you have yet to read this week's book and would like to read it now, press pause. Go ahead. We'll wait.
What are you watching?
Hey, what are you reading?
Tell me, what are you loving this week?
What are you putting in your ears?
Welcome to The Box. I'm Charity.
I'm Crystal.
I'm Rebecca. On The Box, we talk about all the media we love, old and new.
Here are hottest takes on the classic movies, new TV shows, our favorite podcasts, and what we downloaded this week.
Subscribe on iTunes at HSPN The Box or wherever you get your podcasts to hear us every week.
And don't forget, too much TV will rot your brain.
A proud member of the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network.
Okay, Adam, we can go spoilery now. What's your thoughts?
So, the basic storyline is Animal Man can... I was unfamiliar with the character. Like,
Yeah.
you can think of an animal. He taps into the life web, and then he gains their power. So he can fly if he thinks of a bird. He can.
See, I was kind of hoping to like actually literally turn into those animals, because that'd be cool. Because then you could like turn into like a mouse and like sneak around and not have people know you, and then
or that rhinoceros thing would have been cool.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know. But
so basically, they've he's kind of he's doing movies now. He's kind of put off being a superhero, but his wife's
also there's one of those things where I'm like, okay, Jeff Lemire's Canadian, so I'll give him to that. But saying he's in films, but he lives in San Diego. San Diego is not a fucking suburb of LA. Like,
yeah, I know. No.
It's like 3 hours away, man, and that's in good traffic.
In good traffic, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry, that was a weird little like, oh, not a Californian who wrote this.
Yeah, exactly. So his wife's like, no, you should go do superhero stuff. So he goes and does it, and then basically he starts bleeding out of his eyes. It's like, what the fuck's going on? He goes home and then gets covered in these weird like tattoo looking. Oh no, he goes home and then his daughter, we find out, Maxine.
Well, he has a weird fucking dream.
He has a weird dream.
Yeah,
right.
And then she goes home and they wake up. She wants a pet, but he can't have a pet because he would, have an affinity with it. And they find out that she's like dug up these dead animals, like pets and neighbors had died, buried, and like brought them back to life.
Yeah, because so his daughter wants a pet dog and an animal, and so he won't give it to her. So the fucking little kid necromances some.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like first and foremost, like that's where like if you make a movie, this suddenly becomes horror movie territory, real fucking quick.
Right, and they're like,
"Daddy, I want a dog." Well, you can't have one.
And I want to play with you, and I want to play.
Yeah. I'm going to bring Sparky back from the dead. Oh, I'm going to bring a bird back from the dead. Like so you have these skeletal
right. So and it's moving around now, but in no ways has it been reanimated or reconstituted any flesh. So if the animal's been dead for a long time, it's just a walking skeleton, or if it's just in partial decay, it continues to just be in partial decay, but it's moving around. So they're creepy as hell.
Yeah, it's really bizarre.
It's really bizarre. And Maxine says, "Look, I have all these friends," and like, wow, Maxine, you're really fucked up.
And of course, her brother being the obnoxious teenage boy who's like, this is the coolest thing ever.
Let me film this shit!
So anyway, so then he starts bleeding all over the place, and the blood turns into tattoos, and Maxine's like, no, this is how we get to the red place. It's a map.
The red place.
The neighbor comes over.
Because, okay, your daughter is just necromanced animals and says, we're going to go to the red place. Fuck that shit.
Right.
First and foremost.
It makes like, ooh, maybe Damien is a better kid to have.
Yeah, oh, man. So,
why do the children hate you, okay?
Because I'm the son of the devil.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the neighbor comes over, gets all pissed off because it's weird, so she turns his hand into a chicken hand.
Yeah.
And basically the thing is that they're saying that he needs to go to the red, and she has to take Maxine. His wife gets pissed. And you learn there are these things that are like bursting out of like pregnant hippo things that are called the rot, and they like kill these zoo guys, and they become the skin suits.
Yeah, they take a form.
They get to the red and find out the red is where like all his power comes from, and there are these totems that live there.
It's like the life web type thing.
Yeah, and they actually call them life webs. So he's like, oh shit, I was right. And then the evil creatures, you find out they were once guardians, but then they became twisted and corrupted, and they're trying to take over. They go after his family. The rot does. The two of them actually get into the red, and like Maxine and Animal Man fight and end up destroying. Actually, his daughter destroys him with a big wall of like red blood.
Yeah.
They go back to her mom's house where his wife's staying. They fight the final one, and then Maxine sends all these little creatures over there to like basically eat it, and then find out that's exactly what it wanted because now it has access to all this power, and it's turning all the animals evil and chasing after them. And then tentacle porn, and then there's a really weird one-off about like the movie he was in, and this ends that they're like watching on Netflix at this hotel they're staying at, and that's the end of the first book.
You know, this is a great example of where the whole is less than the sum of the parts. Every now and then you can hope for like a synergy. That's a bad word to use in some ways, but it's like, oh, let's put all these things together and we can have something even greater.
Yeah.
And here is I've been a long time. Brian over here is a huge fan of Lemire. I really like Lemire, but Brian's probably the bigger fan of it here. But this isn't great.
No, this is the weakest thing I've read of his.
So as is going through here, and we made a comment, and what Lemire is, he does a lot of his own personal stuff, but he does a lot of work for hire for both Marvel and DC.
And he's done good work as work for hire. Like he did a great run on the Green
Arrow was fantastic.
It was a fantastic run. He did a great. Oh, did we do that on the show?
No, we did the Kevin Smith Green Arrow on the show.
That's right. I recommended and you and I both read it, but I was like, they also did. I liked his run on Moon Knight. I thought that was really cool. Did he do any X-Men? I think he did some X-Men too.
He might have.
I'll
Black Hammer is great.
Yeah, and that's an independent one, but that one's really good. And then he has that's an independent for Image, I believe.
Yeah,
like Dark Horse. One of
that one's on Dark Horse.
Yeah, and then he's done his really truly independent stuff. He's done
Essex County.
Essex County is probably one of his biggest ones.
Royal City.
As the new one that's running right now, and it's one of my favorites. He also is doing one right now called Gideon Falls. It's more of a horror movie thing. He also did a book called
Old Man Logan.
Oh, that's right. He did do the reboot of Old Man Logan, which I actually really liked as well. And then he did
Underwater Welder.
Underwater Welder is really good, and he's done a bunch.
Underwater Welder?
Yeah,
I love that book.
Yeah, that's Underwater Welder. And Jeff Lemire, and so that's the stuff that I love his writing, and I have a fondness for his art. My wife doesn't like his art, but appreciates his writing. This is a book that he just wrote. His writing has a simplistic sort of style to it, but I think it gets to the heart of things pretty quickly. I think he's very efficient with his lines.
And speaking of efficiency, I will say, as he's good on retconning the whole things, here's two bubbles. You've got Animal Man going, I got my powers from an alien spacecraft, dude. And the other guy's like, no, they too were our agents. No more alien than you or I. We simply gave you a narrative you could more easily comprehend.
Yeah.
So in that one bubble right there, it's like, you thought the whole story was you got this from aliens and you have these superpowers from aliens. Nope. Yep. You'd buy that, so we went that way.
Just retcon the entire thing.
Right there. And, that's probably the most impressive thing about that entire book was that bubble.
Yeah.
On his ability to do so. The artwork, Travel Foreman, the artwork's not bad by any means.
It's not. It's just weird.
It is weird and fucky and trippy and that whole thing. Travel Foreman.
I love it. You're going to say fucked up and he's changed it into
funky.
Yeah.
Or fucky. I'm not sure what fucky means.
That's how the Asians say it.
I was waiting for someone to make that one.
Right. So it's like the Tetsuo and Akira starts losing his shit.
It has a lot of Akira stuff.
Yeah, it's very...
So someone had a lot of inspiration coming from that. And it's like, oh, we've got this. Now what happens when you take it with elephants and other animals and let's just kind of mix and match and put them all together. And it's weird and strange. And by the way, Maxine, his daughter, is 4 years old. So
yeah, which is even creepier.
So a 4-year-old doing necromancy and having dreams of the red and the blood and all this rot and everything going on. And, it's
a metaphor for adolescence.
Sure, right? She's 4 years old and already the bleeding has begun.
See, for me, what this reminded me of, so I'm a really big fan of Chuck Palahniuk. I like a lot of his stuff, and he doesn't. Actually, I'm behind a couple books since the last one I read was Damned. He has this thing, especially in the book Haunted, where he'll describe something incredibly gross, like a guy getting he would be in the pool and you go tail his pants off, sit down on the intake that would for the filter, and masturbate because it would would pleasure him, and then But then something really gross happens. You're like, oh, that's disgusting. And then he spends 2 pages going into detail about it and how things smelled or tasted or this and that. And it's like I got the picture the first time around. I've got a good enough imagination to where I don't need all. And Stephen King does it too. I think I've talked before about that. Bag of Bones was the one where I was talking about the guy was really horny and he spent 2 pages describing his dick.
I read that one.
Yeah, actually, it's a book.
Yeah, it's not bad.
The book. This book did the same thing where it was taking things almost too far. It was almost just being gross or disgusting just for the sake of being gross or disgusting. You didn't really need to have all that there. And I like horror books. We've read several other stuff I had a blast with, but this was just kind of like you said. Let's just see let's throw everything we possibly can in there to see how it works. Not even so much throwing everything at the wall to see if it sticks. It's just well, we can do it. It's the whole you were so worried if you could, you never stopped thinking you should.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what this book just feels like. There's just the plot's interesting. Actually, I was really the first issue or so. I was like, oh, cool. His daughter can bring shit back to life. That's kind of Pet Sematary-ish,
right?
But then it just kind of goes
off the rails.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And just makes no sense. And like you said, maybe there's a long game at play here.
Yeah,
but
How many issues did this even go before it got canceled?
There's 5 trades.
Really?
Yeah.
30 issues.
All written by Lemire?
All written by Lemire, yeah.
Huh.
But it was...
All right.
And again, it could pay off, but it's almost like I would need someone to explain to me how I could trust me.
Convince me it's going to.
Like we did with Wardrobes.
Yeah,
right.
For sure. But that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot more on this. It's weird.
Yeah, it's a disappointment.
It's kind of a bummer for Lemire. Like, and that's the thing is, I really, really like his work, and I don't know if it's a thing of.
He puts out a lot of work. Now, I will say this is probably the first thing I've read of him that I'm not like, oh, this. It's my first disappointment.
Yeah.
Coming from this guy, and he's done a bunch of stuff.
There's 29 issues because the final one was Goodnight Animal Man.
All right.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. That is the thing is like I don't. It also just doesn't feel like his writing either. Like it doesn't feel like his dialogue. It doesn't feel like.
Well, the only thing I read by him that was Underwater Welder, which you recommended that to multiple times.
Yeah.
I was like, I think it was on sale on Comixology, so I picked it up for like $5, and I just was blown the fuck away by that. Like, I actually want to do it on our show because
I want to do a full
Lemire
month. You know, I mean, is what I want to do.
Just not another one of these.
No, I won't do another Animal Man in it. But like, we definitely do Royal City because like Royal City is amazing. If you like that Royal City, I liked Underwater Welder. There's a similarity between Underwater Welder and Royal City. The Path is the other one I just read. That's actually based. It's all visual. Like it's tied into an album, and so there's only one line of dialogue in the whole thing, and then the rest of it is like every couple of pages there is the lyrics to a song that section is tied to.
Oh, interesting.
It's based on a true story. It's fascinating. The book fucked me up. It stuck with me for a few days. I was like, I read that book and I was just haunted by it for a few days. But it's sort of typical for like I think Lemire. His greatest strength as a writer is his ability to really tug on the heartstrings and get to like the core heart of a character, and I feel like that's where he missed on this. I don't think he really got to the character, and it just didn't make sense to me. You know.
Well, you said you have Swamp Thing. Also, everyone was raving about Swamp Thing too back when this came out. So I'd be interested to see what you think about that. And if anyone listening has read this whole series and knows that it goes somewhere amazing, like please let me know because I think the concept is interesting. It was just kind of overblown and overstuffed.
Yeah, and it might be a thing of him trying to tie it into Swamp Thing. It might have been a thing like he just didn't have necessarily that connection to this book.
Or the fact that DC launched 52 comics in 1 month.
Well, that, and it sort of felt to me, and I don't know if this is true or not, but it sort of felt to me like, hey, we liked what you did on Moon Knight. Do sort of the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's do that.
And because there's some similarities to it, but Moon Knight is much better. Significantly more interesting, at least for me.
All right.
And I don't know, I mean, and I didn't know the character of Animal Man before, but I didn't know the character of Moon Knight either, and still just enjoyed it more. So, but it sounds like we're all going to need a drink. So for mine, because of all the weird, creepy blood stuff, and mine is the blood and bourbon. This recipe was there's a bartender at the Aloha Lounge in Maui. He has some specific ingredients that he wanted. Like you can do general, but he has some sort of specific ones, which will be on our website as well. But it's 1 ounce of blood orange liqueur. He recommends Solerano. 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. I can't pronounce that. Something Antigua red vermouth. It'll be on our website. Just look for it there. 1 ounce of bourbon. He recommends Woodford Reserve. 1 to 2 dashes of orange bitters. 6 small leaves of tarragon, and you garnish with an orange peel. You can divide all the ingredients into a shaker with ice. Shake the shit out of it 15 times, is what it says. Double strain into a chilled cocktail glass and garnish with the zest of a fresh orange. Swap before placing it in the cocktail. Little fancy, but still sounds tasty. So, Mr. Andom. Mr. Adam.
Mr. Andom it is.
Mr. Andom. What is your cocktail?
So we were jokingly coming up with ship names for couples the other day.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so they're trying to come up with one for me and Clark, and it ended up either being Ark or Clam.
Clam. I like clam. Clam with smegma sauce.
Yeah. Oh, gross. It's a rare delicacy in some countries. So mine is just called Into the Red.
Okay. So
this one's going to get you fucked up. So it's 1.5 ounces of vodka, 1.5 ounce of peach schnapps, 1.5 ounce of SoCo, 1.5 ounce of gin, 2 ounces of triple sec, and 2 ounces of orange juice. You add it to a shaker with ice. You add as much grenadine as you want to make it as sweet as you want or as red as you want. You shake the shit out of it, and you strain it into a chilled cocktail glass.
Nice. And Mr. Todd?
Mine, it's known as the Zombie 2. These aren't quite zombies floating around, but they might as well be. So that's what's going on here. This one is going to be an ounce of light rum, an ounce of dark rum, an ounce of orange curacao liqueur.
Ooh.
Someone said things right. Now you guys have to drink, you fuckers.
I've been saying it right for years now.
I know. I think Maya's the one who fucks it up but thinks he says it right.
No, it's you.
Is it me?
It is you.
Did I say Curacao or Curacao?
Curacao.
Every time.
Which, honestly, I said it that way for most of my life, so I don't give a shit. But.
So, that's where it goes. Half ounce of lemon juice, a half ounce of lemon juice, 1.5 ounces of orange juice, 1.5 ounces of passion fruit puree.
Is that fruit or fruit?
Fruit.
Fruit.
See, I shouldn't really say anything because I shouldn't be shocked even that I pronounce something wrong because I do it fucking constantly.
But, I do too.
You know.
So, 1/4 ounce of grenadine and 2 dashes of Angostura bitters, and then half an ounce of 151 proof dark rum if you want to have a kick.
Like you do.
Like you do. So, you put all this into a cocktail glass, shake the shit out of it, you fill it into a hurricane glass, and you do a sprig of mint on top. So, it's reddish, peachy, fruity-ish, bloody zombie.
It's not often you have like a cocktail with 151 that the 151 isn't burned off the top. You ever notice that? Do you ever see 151 in a recipe? Like, there's always like, pour it on top and burn it off.
Because it's terrible.
Yeah.
Although it makes a Flaming Dr. Pepper taste really, really good.
Does it?
Yeah, you ever had that before?
No.
So Flaming Dr. Pepper, it's I can't remember what kind of beer it is, but you take it's a beer and it's a shot with like amaretto, vodka, and like you float 151. You light it, you drop it into the beer, and you chug it, and it tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper.
Wow. Okay. We'll do that.
Interesting. Okay, well, does anybody else have anything else they want to bring up on this book?
I'm
Not really,
disappointed.
no. Just disappointment.
Okay.
Regret.
That's right.
Sadness.
It's like your first date with a woman.
I've never been on a date with a woman, so I don't know.
Like Todd's first date with a man.
That's yet to happen.
We've gone on mandates.
We have gone on mandates. You're right.
Took you to Blair Witch.
That's right. I keep asking him if he wants to go
Well,
camping.
you count that as a mandate. Todd and I had a very serious relationship for a very long time.
We did.
Well, say what you will about that movie. Actually, I enjoyed the Blair Witch, but that
I did too.
We walked in, they had all the lights turned off, they had creepy music playing, they had like the reps lead you in by lantern. Like it was.
The atmosphere was awesome.
Yeah. Actually, I need to see that again. I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters. I had a blast with it.
It has. It had a little bit of Slender Man elements going along with it. So.
Also, that movie looks freaky as shit, by the way.
Yeah. So.
Did you know a Slender Man movie?
Yeah, the trailer's up there. It's fucked up.
Nice. I just saw a trailer for, there's a book I love called Juliet Naked, and I saw the trailer for it last night. It actually looks pretty good.
Does she look good naked?
It has it's the name of an album in it. It's basically a book about it's Hornby.
Okay, Nick
Hornby wrote it.
Nick Hornby.
Who I love his work, but he also wrote like High Fidelity and About a Boy and things like that.
Which are both amazing movies.
Yeah. So it's basically this girl. She's in this long-term, or woman, I should say. She's in a long-term relationship with this guy who is basically obsessed with a singer, kind of like a. I don't know who you describe it as. Sort of like a singer-songwriter kind of thing. Sort of like a grunge kind of guy who had basically stopped putting out albums, and this guy's been obsessed with trying to find out what's going on or whatever. And he did this album about this older woman he had an affair with named Juliet, and the album's called Juliet Naked.
All right.
And
so it's like acoustic.
Yeah, so she's like totally obsessed with him. Well, this singer-songwriter, he ends up putting out like a new album and just sort of sends like a burned copy. Like, yeah, it's not out yet, but he sends a burned copy to this guy because he's a big fan. Well, she listens to it, and she kind of writes the only harsh critique on it. You know what I mean? And the rock star deliberately emails her back and says, "You're the only person who gets what this is." And then so she ends up sort of starting this relationship with this guy, this singer. So she knows all about this guy because her boyfriend was obsessed with him, and now she knows all these things about him. But you know, so there's like this weird pull between like this sort of celebrity boyfriend and then sort of like the real boyfriend kind of thing. But it's right. Not as romantic. I mean, they're going to make it as a movie, probably as a romantic comedy, but it's not as like cheesy romantic comedies. My description makes it sound, but like I really like the book a lot. So
cool.
Anyway, okay, cool. Well, so then I guess we'll just jump into final grades.
Jamie, school is never a waste of time.
Since we have 15 minutes until recess, please put down your pencils and stare at the front of the room.
It's report card time. It's report card time. It's report card time. I'm so fucking thugged.
God, please, no! No! No!
So for our writer, Mr. Lemire, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
D.
Okay.
I mean, there's some interesting ideas there, but again, they're just kind of throwing it all out there, mixing things up too much, and just again, it goes off the rails.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that with D as well. This is by far the least favorite thing. It's so weird and so not the Jeff Lemire I'm used to. It almost feels like it was ghostwritten. It was like he took the money and said, "Oh shit,
I owe something tomorrow.
I owe something tomorrow."
Hey, Grant Morrison.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, I'll give you $5 if you write this for me real fast. It doesn't.
He
feel
wishes he was Grant Morrison here.
There's one book of his I like. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep working on that.
Yeah.
Mr. Todd, what's your grade?
It's going to be a C- as well for the writing. It's just it was a lot of missed opportunities, and it was just kind of it was a story of missed opportunities here.
Yeah. I mean, and maybe it pans out into something better in the future.
Yeah.
But by far my least favorite. This is.
We won't be doing this when we revisit our favorite books.
No.
If we ever go back and revisit, this will definitely not.
That's what Last July was. Last July was round 2, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Of the trade 2s?
Yeah. That's what we did. Yeah, trade 2.
Yeah.
We'll have to do round 3 pretty soon.
We will have to do round 3.
Right.
So, okay, cool. So for our artist for Travel Foreman, aside from the fact that his name is cool as shit.
That is a cool name.
I'm actually going to give it a grade of like a B. The art was weird, but it evoked something and it did something very interesting, and graphic style was good. For what he had to work with in the story, I actually thought it was really interesting. So I'll give it a good solid B. Mr. Todd.
I'm going to give it a B-. There's elements of it I really liked. At the same time, it might be more of the coloring on some of it. Sometimes it's washed out. Sometimes it's richer. For going to the red and this other fanciful place, you would think something would be a bit like heightened.
Oh yeah,
and
or a little more psychedelic,
more intense and going
yeah.
on. And this is a pastel-y, washed out thing going on. And if the coloring was different, I'd probably give it a better grade than I do.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Mr. Adam.
And I'll do a B-. Again, the art's not the problem here. It's just the storyline, and he was able to create this crazy, weird, insane world, like very much reminiscent of Akira, like we mentioned earlier. And that was really cool. But yeah, like with Todd's problem is that the color palette could have been used a bit wiser.
Yeah. Okay, and then I guess overall total grade. What's your grade, Mr. Todd?
I think a C- is generous.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Mr. Adam?
C- as well. I mean, if I do need to know though if this goes somewhere, because if I can get someone to say yes, actually there is a point and it does get interesting. Like this world is something I want to kind of explore more of.
Yeah.
I have no motivation whatsoever to find out what happens next, because when I got done with this, I was like, and then that last issue where it was just basically about the movie he made was dumb as shit. And I was like, why the fuck did you even include this?
Unless the plot ties into something in the next book,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
But I don't think it does, because originally they said that it's not even part of the. When I looked it up on Wikipedia, it just said 1 through 5 is the story, and then 6 is tights. It says something just a one-off kind of thing. So.
Yeah, it's a weird little movie, and they stole our name for our our app, but whatever.
So, and you look at it, and I think that's as indicative as anything. Is he had story for the first 5 issues? He's like, fuck, I don't know, I'm going to keep doing. Oh, let's write this thing because I could come up something there.
Well, and it has secondary artists, so it was like to fill in until he, gets,
until he got the new thing going.
Yeah,
right.
So, okay, and my overall grade, I'm going to probably go with a D. I was disappointment is the best way of describing it.
D for disappointment.
Yep.
Use a hoe.
Okay. I just keep thinking of Hercules, where there's that one outtake where he had taken the stage direction of disappointed, but he had moded it at full volume.
Yeah.
So you've got Hercules going, disappointed!
The podcast, Kevin Smith's podcast uses that drop a lot, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's really the main reason I know about it is the disappointed thing.
It's pretty fantastic if you ever see that clip.
So, well, cool. Does anybody have any recommendations?
Something that's a lot better on a similar vein is called The Unmen. It's by John Whalen and Mike Hawthorne. This was on the Vertigo imprint instead there, and it's about a freak show. And it's kind of reminiscent of Ninja Turtles with some of the guy. There's a brain that walks around on a hand, and there's a lot of strange stuff, but it's fun.
Unlike this
one. And it's just 2 trades and it's done. And it's called The Unmen, Get Your Freak On, and it's a freak show circus that kind of travels around with other take over the world plans going on. So if you this art, it's a kind of a similar art style right there. So the best part of this book, but a better story. It's called The Unmen.
Okay, Mr. Adam, do you have any recommendations?
So I bought it a while ago because it came out months and months ago, but I finally got around to starting and reading it. They did the novelization of The Last Jedi.
Oh, okay.
Which in the past I read those, and actually some of the novelizations have been, like, for the prequels, were better than the actual movies. And I know some people don't like Last Jedi. I don't know why not. It's like it's up there with Empire's my favorite Star Wars movie. It took everything that you thought you knew about this universe and said, no, actually you don't. Quit making up shit in your head and just enjoy the movie. But it's explaining a lot of things. It goes into detail, I've been told, explains actually how Rey was able to learn so much about the Force without actually having any formal training.
I mean, I've never had any issue with her just being like a prodigy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
but apparently they explain it well, and it comes down to Snoke fucked himself kind of thing.
Gotcha.
But like it's written really well, and it's engaging. Even though I've seen that movie many times, it's always kind of fun because whereas movies exist to show you what the characters are doing, books exist to show you what they're thinking. And so it's really kind of fun to actually be able to sit there and, you know, first of all, there's scenes in the book that aren't in the movie, and also to be like, when this character's acting a certain way, what's actually going on behind their eyes and what their actual true motivation is for why they say or do things. So so far it's really good. So
cool. What I liked about The Last Jedi is, so Rian Johnson wrote and directed Last Jedi. I really enjoyed it. Probably my favorite movie of his is Brothers Bloom, by the way. I love the Brothers Bloom.
Did he do Brick?
He did Brick.
Yes.
And
I love Brick.
And Looper.
I love Brick.
But Brothers Bloom has a great sense of humor to it. But as I first watched Last Jedi, it's like I can see the 2 to 3 things he did not care for in The Force Awakens is the helmet that Kylo Ren was wearing. He's like, yep, when you get rid of that shit.
Yep.
Snoke, like, we got something else better going on. But we had that cool fight there. But it was just kind of a fun thing to watch and you can really tell that Star Wars says, Ryan, do your thing, and they just support him the whole bit.
Speaking of retconning something with one line of dialogue.
Yeah.
Yes.
Take off that stupid helmet.
Take off that helmet. It's stupid.
Yeah.
Fine.
Or just or the scene, and it's been out for too long. If you haven't seen it yet, it's
Yeah.
But yeah, the whole thing was like, who's Snoke? Who's Snoke? Who's Snoke? And then Kylo just like, zhunk. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore. Kylo's the bad guy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Which we all knew was going to happen anyway.
That's right.
Just get kill the people, get on with the point.
That's right.
I'm trying to think of a recommendation. I don't really have a recommendation. I'm just...
Go to the old Lyric Repertory Theater and go watch a show.
Go see some theatre.
Yes.
Some theater.
Some
acting.
Yeah. Or just go see some theater in general.
Just go to theater. Right.
Going on around. We'll just call that good. By the way, Adam, I have to show you my new mic.
Okay.
Yeah, the Limbaugh.
The Limbaugh. It's kind of a funny story. So I went to Guitar Center to buy a bunch of stuff. That's where I also got these windscreens. And I saw this mic on clearance, and I'm like, and it was significantly cheaper. I'm like, I've seen this company make mics before, and I'm like, I'm pretty certain. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, this is probably a really good mic that they can't sell because of the paint job on it, because of the current climate, right? Because it is a very patriotic red, white, and blue microphone, right? So I bought this mic. This is my new recording voiceover mics, right? So I've jokingly named it the Limbaugh, but I've recorded a bunch of voiceovers for it. It sounds fucking amazing.
This is the Patriot
right?
990.
Yeah, Patriot 990 by MXL microphones, right? It sounds gorgeous, but it is weird looking. Like, it looks like something Apollo Creed would have as a microphone, right?
Absolutely.
But it's a condenser mic, and it is gorgeous. Like, it sounds...
I wish I had XLR connections in my house.
I know, right? It sounds so good. So I've done like so many voiceovers on it, and for work, whatever, it just sounds amazing. But like, I jokingly now refer to it as the Limbaugh. But I was going to tell you the story of my new microphone I got. But
yeah.
I figured, like, for $60, if it sounds better than these
that
cheap
was only
little...
$60?
Exactly.
Jesus.
That was exactly. That's why I bought it, because I was like, if this sounds even remotely better than your standard SM58, which is like the basic handheld with the round top that you see on everything, if it sounds better than that, then
we're good to go.
Yeah, and it sounds great. It's like, I've done a lot of voiceovers with this so far, and it sounds really good.
Actually, I didn't realize this, but you and I have the same headphones.
Oh, these are like industry standard, man.
Yeah, but there was a place I had them on clearance. My buddy got them for like half off or something.
Nice, yeah. No, there's a voiceover artist I was working with too. He's like, "Oh man, you have the same headphones I do." And I'm like, "Well, they're kind of industry standard."
Everyone does.
I have them because everyone uses the same headphones and they all sort of sound the same. So when I mix the show, they all kind of. I sometimes will mix the show with like little iPod headphones as well, so that I can kind of know what most people are going to hear it as well. But yeah, I like these headphones. Anyway, okay, so that will do it for this week. Next week, we're going on to Elmer, a book Todd's been trying to get me to read for years.
I have. I'm so excited.
Yes. We were going to see if Amy would read that book with us, but Todd doesn't think that's going to happen.
Probably not.
No. So,
is it naughty?
It starts out, so the general idea in Elmer is chickens have gained sentience. So, and
well they should.
As well they should. So a few years have passed.
Fuck are you, cow? Fuck are you, chicken?
Since they have it. So it opens up and it's just drawn in black and white. There's no color to the book. And someone's flipping through pages of a dirty mag, and you can hear this person talking and just really getting excited and built up to have the full release. And it's these chicks, and you go through, and then you see it's a chicken that's beating off to this woman porno mag.
Oh.
And that's within like the first 10 pages. And it proceeds from there.
Like chickens do.
Like chickens do. But it was written and drawn by this Filipino guy. I can't think of his name in the moment.
Explains it.
It's good stuff going on.
If that wasn't enough of a selling point, I don't know what is.
It is. But no, Elmer, it's a whole lot of fun. It got recommended to me by a LCS back in the day at Night Flight, when Night Flight was in the Library Square.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how long I've had this book.
So that's what we'll be reading next month, and then we'll finish off our month of animal books with animosity. And then next month, it's Andy Wilson month.
Yay!
So Andy will be sending us suggestions. We've already been texting it back and forth. So anyway, that will do it for us for this week. Thanks for listening, and we will see you on the flip side.
Bye.
Bye.
It was like right in unison. That was nice.
So that happened. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode. This band of knuckleheads will be back next week with a new episode. Until then, you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr as Funny Books and Firewater, and on Twitter as @FirewaterCast. Go to funnybooksandfirewater.com for the most up-to-date information, as well as cocktail recipes from this and past episodes. Thank you for joining us. And until next week, support your local comic shop, tip your bartender well, and stay hydrated.